on this trend and things like that. But we're gonna talk about more about AI. And one thing that we're reviewing, it's part of the news. There was an interview with the co-founder of Palantir, named Joe Lonsdale. So he and the anchor and stuff at the news at CNBC, they talked a little bit about how AI is going to be changing positions and things like that. And there was a whole meeting out of the country, in another country, of all the new tech and AI stuff and productivity and how it's being availed through how it's going to help people more and stuff like that. So we're going to dive into how that's all working out, because we might be able to learn something. I only watched a little bit of the beginning of this video, and I feel like there's something good that he can probably tell us, and we can learn something from it, and just know how other CEOs of tech companies are looking at AI and how they're going to be using it, especially for the benefit of their businesses and stuff. So
First stage last week at the World Economic Forum in Davos, alongside discussions of global conflicts, including the Russia-Ukraine war and the Israel-Hamas war. Join us right now to discuss the intersection of geopolitics and technology. Joe Lonsdale is here, founding partner of 8VC, which is backed defense tech companies like Anduril and Epirus. He's also co-founder, of course, of Palantir and co-founder of a self-described free speech university in Austin, which I want to talk to you about. But I want to ask you, I want to start with just an AI question. Everybody was going, AI crazy in Davos. And the thing that I can't figure out is whether AI is going to be so pervasive that it becomes sort of a commoditized feature of basically every piece of software that everybody has, or whether it's actually going to be going to ultimately create new standalone products that create new value. Meaning, you look at some of these, if it's just going to be a feature of everything, then the question is, how much more value is it creating in the companies that either already exist or the new companies? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, AI, Andrew, is going to be something that...
Before he dives into that, I didn't see his answer yet. So I want to kind of put what I think it's going to be. So AI features, the more features that you add onto it, any feature is supposed to either allow you to do something new, or it normally allows you to do something new and things like that. But what these companies are doing with AI is, can we make stuff easier, and so that we can get more done, be more productive, and from that whole scale. So I believe he's going to talk about how we're going to be using these features in different companies to become more productive, to make their normal tasks easier and things like that, where they don't need the extra help to do certain tasks and grow on much more beyond that. So let's see what that's going to look like, because he's about to tell us, I guess.
Impacts productivity. That's what really matters here, right? At the end of the day, what are we all doing with these markets, with these businesses? You want to create more with less. You want to create more prosperity for society. When you have something like electricity, it takes decades to work its way through everything, right? Electricity, I think 30 years in, you finally have factories designed to use electricity. But even in the first decade, it did a lot of other things.
Right.
AI right now, it's going after a lot of areas. We're seeing already how it could raise the margins, how it could address things. There's lots of service areas of the economy. I'll give you one example. Healthcare billing is a $280 billion revenue area, and we're already seeing how AI is probably going to be able to double the margins in that area, which basically means you pull $100 billion of spend out of the economy. That's new wealth it creates through productivity. There's probably going to be trillions of dollars of that the next 5 years.
You think in the next 5 years that happens?
I think you actually see by the mid to late 2020s, economic numbers showing up where productivity's gone up.
Do you think, though, I was thinking Con Ed, which is electricity.
And you see there, so their aspect of it is, hey, these features are going to make this so much easier that people are going to be able to get so much more done in less time. That is going to make their companies and people way more productive. It's going to save so much more money, and companies are going to be able to make way more money from that span. And from what we've even seen today, I believe that's pretty much true. I'm able to get more stuff done because of ChatGPT and things like that, and figuring out certain stuff. I can get more content out and just be able to grow faster and figure out things. And there's a bunch of AI tools that people reach out about and try to get you to use for, especially for content creators and for anything. You see it in your jobs. Your jobs are picking up ML and AI teams, getting all the progress built up on those jobs. If and right now, all those other jobs, we just seen Google do layoffs, Amazon doing layoffs, every company's doing layoffs out here, and you want to know where you want to go? You want to be on their ML and AI teams. If you want to specialize in anything right now, if you're a new engineer and you want to learn something new, if you want to pick up something and have a good background and have good job security, join your AI and ML teams. Those two teams are going to be the groundbreakers for your company. They're going to be the people who they stick with for sure over the next few years. You have way more stability because in the next 5 to 10 years, this is something that all of society is going to be focusing on. They just had a whole summit, they said, and they said all they talked about was AI there. The only thing out of all the tech that you can talk about, the main thing now is mentioned was AI.
In New York, it's not a great high flyer of a stock because at some point it does become commoditized. So is there like a period right now which is like a renaissance, and then it gets commoditized? The other thing that I worry about or think about is whether we're in 1996 or 1999, where there's just going to be too much of an almost overinvestment in this area, and there's going to be a lot of collateral damage when it's over.
I mean, the way markets work with new possibilities is there always is overinvestment. There's a few big platforms that emerge that are going to be extraordinarily valuable. The same way in the late 90s you had things like Amazon born, you have Google born. Obviously, those would have been really good bets. You have a lot of other things that there's too much hype. But then basically you have these infrastructure for AI that makes a lot of money because 2 or 3 or 5 things emerge as winners there.
Right.
And then the whole economy benefits. If productivity goes up as much as it looks like it's going to do, that makes money for every one of us. And that's a good thing for the whole society.
I wonder if more value in the soft.
I wonder if it makes more people for the people working there. The only way I can see it making more people for the workers is companies are reaching their margins easier, so you're more guaranteed the bonuses and stuff if you're in corporate to receive them. And companies are going to also be working on less overhead and less employees, so the margins are even better in that case as well too, because less employees are doing more. So why would you need any more than you already have at that point and continue to grow from that point when you already got what you wanted? So that everything he's saying so far is really making sense, and it's really aligning and the future of what AI is going to be doing in the next years.
Software piece or the hardware piece? One of the things that I think has been fascinating to hear, people were talking about it actually in Davos, is Sam Altman, who was there from OpenAI, clearly has been looking around to try to raise money to actually start manufacturing chips. In the old world, chips were never considered a valuable thing to do. And by the way, maybe in 10 years from now, there'll be an overabundance of chips and nobody will care about chips anymore. But for the next 5 or 10 years, it seems like people won't be able to get enough of them.
The infrastructure of chips is critical to make this work. If you can make chips commoditized, that means the rest of us are going to be all very well off because you're going to be applying it to the whole economy. I mean, the most money is going to be made, frankly, for the S&P 500, for the big companies that are more productive overall. That's where the real money gets made if this works. But we need the chips to do that. I mean, Sam's thinking, how can I apply this technology? How do we scale it? There's a scarcity of chips, so it's really smart to do.
In the defense world, how do you think it fundamentally changes things? I mean, we were talking to your co-founder, Alex Karp, about sort of how AI is going to impact his business. He's leveraging ChatGPT and some of these other large language models as well. So the question is, do you have to create your own model? Is it really just about taking somebody else's model and applying it to what you're doing?
Well, it was really cool. I guess OpenAI opened up to defense now. But listen, in the defense world, software is becoming more important. AI makes software determinative in defense. We already have all these new companies needed in defense because the old big primes, the big legacy defense contractors, they're really good at hardware. They're pretty bad at software. Thanks to AI, you now desperately need all the new companies in defense because there's a bigger gap there.
What does that mean, determinate? Like determine
it means
who
that,
you're gonna go after, or you mean determining what lines you kind of follow.
It means determining like what technologies are dominant in warfare, right? So if you have AI being as good as it is now, suddenly it really matters to have the best software. If you're going to be doing like you want to get a certain amount of money for a certain amount of outcome, right? So if you're going to be building 1,000 small autonomous drones for some kind of battle scenario, if you have AI, you desperately are going to need the best software companies involved in that. Otherwise, you're going to lose that battle. You're going to not.
So I just wanted to leave it there real quick, and that's about it from that video that I really wanted to take from that video, because I wanted to stop it there because I just wanted to show the scale of where AI is growing from. He covered two big things right now. Sam Altman, I told you guys last year in previous episodes, when he left OpenAI and they were trying to let him go, he was creating his own chip space, and now he's a co-founder of that and a CEO. And OpenAI and ChatGPT and all of them are just going to grow and blossom with Microsoft. With that being said as well too, so that just shows you that there's a need for something out there, and they're trying to fulfill these needs, and these people are out here doing so by that. So if you are thinking about any projects and stuff, think about AI projects. And then he also show how he works for defense companies and stuff too. They are looking for people for software and defense things as well for that too, for global protection or war, whatever the things they're showing that AI is becoming lucrative in almost every aspect of life. He talked about healthcare. He talked about just AI for productivity stuff. He talked about it for defense reasons. They're going to be using AI for so much in this world nowadays that, I mean, it's stuff's growing and things.